Want help to grow your business? Download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.
So welcome to Masters of Business, and my name's Steve Major, and today we're going to be talking about the 7 principles of pricing for profit. See, price is so pervasive in our society. We think about it every day in whatever we're buying. It's in everything that we do in our business, yet I don't think we give it enough attention when we're trying to actually determine how to set our price. And yet it is one of the most powerful levers of our business. So we're going to talk about 7 different principles of how you can adopt a more proactive approach to setting your price. But firstly, I just want to talk of a little quote that comes from Warren Buffett. Now, for those who don't know, Warren Buffett is probably the world's #1 business investor. He's certainly in the top 5 wealthiest men of the world. And in 2011, after the global financial crisis, he was giving testimony in front of the US Congress, and these are the words that he said, that basically, if you've got the power to raise prices without losing business to a competitor, you've got a good business. But if you have to have a prayer session before you raise your prices by 10%, then you've got a terrible business. So my question to you is, do you have a good business or do you have a terrible business? Is it a business that Warren Buffett would like to invest in, the world's #1 investor? Do you have what they call pricing power? In other words, the power to set and impact the prices in your business. If you do, you've got a great business. But if you're worried, if you're concerned about increasing your prices even just by 10%, if you're concerned about how your customers or your clients might react, then we need to work on your pricing. We need to work on some of these principles that I'm going to be talking about so that you can have a good business, a business that Warren Buffett would like to invest in. So let's get into them. The price is one of the marketing aspects. It's the 4 Ps of marketing have been around for probably 50 years, and we probably know the first 3 of them just without thinking. But the 4th one is price. So price is a marketing tool. It's not a tool of just for the accountants, or it's not a tool just for the number crunchers, but it is actually an important part of our pricing, which comes to the first principle. Price is not just a number. It's not just any old number. And yet automatically when we started talking about price, that's possibly what you started thinking about, is the price of a certain item, the price of your services that you're selling, your products that you're selling, or the price that you're paying to purchase something. But price is not just a number. Think of it. We think of it just in this absolute sense. But just for a minute, there are times when we start to see that price can have some different actions of when we negotiate, auctions set different prices. There could be discounts or rebates that are applicable. There could be we pay more or less depending on when we get it quicker, or whether we are buying it off-peak. We all know about off-peak rates for, say, hotels or holidays. So price suddenly has a number of different attributes to it. We can have how the payment terms, whether we're paying now, paying later, paying installments, all of these things go into what price is. It's not just a number. It's never just fixed. There could be bundling, there could be tiers, there could be bonuses. There could be different options that we talk about, be it quantity, be it quality options, the better quality, more expensive, lesser quality, less expensive, so on. There's many different aspects to price. It's not just a number. And I really want to make this very, very clear that price is more than just a number. It is a strategy. And we need to look at it as part of the overall marketing that you're doing, that you're looking at price, is how we can utilize that to grow our business. Which comes to our second principle. And this one is one that I really It might sound a little difficult when we go into it, but I really want to emphasize just how important this principle is. All prices are contextual. So let me explain what I mean by that statement. Contextual means that we are comparing it to something else. So we never just think of price in an absolute sense. We're talking about what we are comparing it to. So let's just think of a couple of examples that really illustrate this aspect of the conversation that is happening around price and how people are thinking of price. Now, the first one is the Nespresso coffee pod machines, and more particularly those pods. Now, I know that there's a large number of competitors now to Nespresso, but still Nespresso has this pricing power. So when we think of Nespresso coffee pods, most people are probably think of the George Clooney ads, and they think of that imagery that goes along with it. And in essence, the imagery that they are using is that of a coffee shop. But the Nespresso coffee pods are not actually competing with the coffee shop. That's not their competition. In the world, about 76%, Western world, 76% of coffee that is sold is instant coffee in either the home or the place of work. And that is what Nespresso is after. It's not comparing it to your local coffee shop, the funky latte with whatever twist. That's not the real comparison. But Nespresso have really significantly been able to achieve that comparison in our head, that they've been able to make it being compared to the coffee shop. So why is that important? Well, in Australian context, the instant coffee we purchase for about $15 a kilogram. The coffee shop coffee, when you put it into a per kilogram price, which most of us never do, is about $200 a kilogram. And if you have a look at what the Nespresso coffee pods are, the price on a per kilogram basis, you'll see it's around about $120 to $150 a kilogram. So all they've done is change the context and made it that the comparison point is the coffee shop. So let's have a look at another quick example, and that is of Red Bull. But you could use nearly all energy drinks. But Red Bull were the first to do it. And that is, Red Bull really is a competitor to Coca-Cola. And that is really what it is. It's a carbonated soft drink, exactly the same as Coca-Cola. But they didn't want to be compared to Coca-Cola, so they needed to shift the conversation. Automatically, as soon as I say that, people go, oh, it's about energy drink. No, it isn't. It's about the look of it. And it's a different size can. All they've done as soon as with a different size can is made it look different, and suddenly we don't compare it to Coke, and as a result, they can charge a lot more than the equivalent Coca-Cola product. And yet their real competition, where they've taken market share, is actually Coca-Cola. So my question to you is, what are you being compared to, your product or your service? And what would you like to be compared to? Because that's the real question. Nespresso did not want to be compared to the instant coffee market. They did not want to operate in that space. They wanted their product to stand alone and be compared to something that was a premium product. We're always buying, whatever we're buying, we're looking at price as what is the alternative. So create options. It's the easiest way to give alternatives to people. Is if you can't compare it to something else in the marketplace, make the comparison within your own products and services. Because as soon as you have a premium option, it makes your cheaper one look better. So create options shifts the context. Incredibly powerful, probably the one most powerful pricing message. So let's get into the next principle. Principle number 3, all value is subjective. So when we're thinking of price, the other aspect of it is the value that we're delivering, the value that the customer or the client is receiving. And this is where we need to understand, though, that all value is subjective. And that means that every customer will have a different perception of value. We can group the customers together and they'll have similarity in their perceptions, but every customer will have a different perspective of value. Now, it's often said to me that we only buy on price, but an easy way to illustrate that that just is not the reality is to ask the question, if we were all buying on price, would we not be all driving the cheapest car? But we're not. And even within our budget, we have different preferences. We value different things amongst different brands of vehicle. So it clearly shows that value is subjective. In the Australian context, there's the Holden versus Ford. You could talk about the BMW versus Mercedes arguments. But some people will have their preferences and will argue in black and blue. But the point is that the value is subjective. So do you really understand the value that your customers see in your product? It's not understanding value from your perspective, it's understanding value from their perspective. It's critical that you take the time to understand value from their perspective. So a quick process to consider this is to think of these.
To continue enjoying this presentation, download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.